To throw the javelin, first of all, we need some equipment. Welcome to my episode, How to Throw the Javelin. Today we're having a look at what equipment we need to learn to throw the javelin or to actually have a good practice with our javelin. First of all, you will need some shoes that are appropriate for throwing. What does that mean? Just some normal sports shoes are fine for the beginners. Later on you can get some spikes. Also, there's available special spikes. Special spikes means they're very strong on the front. They do have the pins in the heel area and also in the front area. That's a very good thing if you really want to advance in the sport of javelin. Regarding clothing, that's very straightforward. Normal sports clothing is just fine. Everything you would use for gym. Just be aware, we're gonna need some mobility over here. So if it's cold outside, try to get a jacket or something warm. That's kind of cozy, that's really mobile here because we need to move. That's all it needs with the clothing. To learn and to practice well in any throwing event, it makes sense to have any kind of ball. Any kind of ball means, I'm talking about round balls. No footballs, no rugbies. It's best to have something round. There's different weights available. So we do have 500 grams, 300 grams, up to 1.5 kilos, some guys even heavier. But if you just want to learn it, a tennis ball or even a golf ball is fine. So you can do some exercises throwing. The size of the ball doesn't really matter. It's always good if it's handy in one hand. There's also balls that are a little bit bigger that you can still handle with one hand. That works fine, and you can do many exercises outdoors and also indoors. When you're in practice, it makes sense to have something to mark on the ground. We love using cones because they're very well visible on a long distance, on a short distance, and there's a lot you can do with this. If you're doing running drills, you can mark how far you want to go. If you're doing throwing drills, we're going to do targeting games in one of the next videos coming. It always makes sense to have something very colorful that you can see from a long distance. For targeting games, also gymnastic rings work well, kind of bright ropes work well, everything that you can see well on the ground. Once you're planning to have a throwing session, make sure you have a facility that you can do all the training in or outdoors. A facility means we're having a field, something, an open area. Grass is just perfect, but it needs to be kind of flat. Properly mowed grass is premium class. That's perfect if you want to have an easy throwing practice to learn how to throw the javelin. Also later on, I guess you're gonna have workouts indoors. Make sure the ground, again, is a good surface. Your shoe wear is appropriate to the ground. That all makes sense. And then one important part, if you're throwing balls into walls, make sure that you're not going to destroy any walls. Facility owners will not be happy about it. And I can tell you, not every wall will withstand the impact of a ball like this, especially if you're improving. There will be some power in your throws, and so please make sure you will not destroy anything or hit anybody. This is another important part in safety throwing and learning how to throw a javelin. Safety issues, make sure the field you're throwing is clear. Nobody that you can see in the direction you're throwing. Please make sure. We are handling a very dangerous, it's a weapon in some countries. We use it as a sports gadget, but it's dangerous. So please make sure nobody in throwing direction, and then you're safe to throw, and you're gonna have a lot of fun learning how to throw the javelin. Javelin throwing involves some kind of forces. Also the training does. We are always under risks of small injuries. So it always makes sense to have some medical tape with you. Medical tape means just this plain white, normal, easy stuff. It's good for if something happens, small tear, put a plaster on, tape over it, you can keep on training. That's safe, that's cool. And we do have some issues a lot of throwers have with tearing some fingers when throwing. So when you know that you're under risk, happens sometimes, put the tape on your finger just as a precaution. And I can tell you this is the same I do for every throwing training session, getting this finger taped so nothing can happen here, because small tears here, they will just stop you from throwing. So precaution, get some medical tape with you, put it in your sports bag and you're fine to go. What else do we need for a good training session? These days it's a smartphone, anything that can record video, and I encourage you to use these gadgets Just film your throw, get a training buddy to film it. It helps you if you don't have your coach with you, if you're training alone, and if you want to check your throws afterwards. Even if you want to send in a video, for example, to my online coaching, it makes sense to have a phone with you so you can film everything and you can have a look on your technique and on your progress. Because training is more fun if you have somebody working out with you. Get yourself a training partner. A training partner can help you analyzing your throws, can push you harder when training is hard, and of course, training partners think about the things you don't think about. Thanks for bringing in the Javelin here, because what we're gonna need if we really want to practice Javelin throwing and not just ball throwing, we will need a Javelin. So get out and throw the Javelin with Thomas Röhler, How to Throw the Javelin.